Hello there, plant peeps. My name is Emily. Welcome to my channel. Today I'd like to show you what's growing on. So we'll start the tour with the plants that I like to say are the most likely to become artists. Because look at these leaves. You know, they look like they've been painted on. They don't look real. But somehow they are. Starting over here, we have 3 calatheas. This one is the Calathea lancifolia. And you'll notice that these plants of the Marantaceae family, they will move their leaves up and down, which is also why they're referred to as prayer plants. Because during the day their leaves will come down, but as the evening comes they will fold their leaves up as if they're praying or doing a namaste. This is Calathea macoyana, also called the peacock plant. They're really pretty if you look through the leaves. They have that like window, stained glass window feel to them. So pretty. Sometimes I just come over and stare at these plants, you know, to kind of chill out. Does anyone else do that? And if you look on the undersides, they're usually a reddish tinge, which is really pretty. And the leaves are very papery, so it's kind of interesting. Please ignore the crispy tips. These plants are very sensitive to minerals and other chemicals that may be in your tap water. So I'm gonna try not watering them with tap water. I have been. They've been okay, but they have the little crispy tips. But I don't mind. You know, plants are plants. They're never perfect, and that's why we love them, for their imperfections. Moving on, this is Calathea ornata, also known as the pinstripe plant, due to these really pretty pink lines that look painted on. And they're also dark on the back of the leaves. This leaf might be a little more pink to show you. I have to say, calatheas are definitely, and marantas, which we'll get to, they're both definitely one of my favorite groups of plants. Somehow they are growing for me, even though I have really crap humidity in the winter. This is known as the Maranta leuconura. It's also called like the rabbit tracks prayer plant because of these cool dark patterns on the leaves. Usually the newest leaves start off with these like darker brown, and then as they get older they kind of fade, but I still think it looks pretty when they're older too. This is actually a couple plants put together in one pot. I got 2 of these little tiny pots at Lowe's, and one of them had like a variegated one, so that's pretty cool. So I'm hoping that will develop some more new leaves. She's getting there. I also have this plant in a self-watering, which the little pots came with these strings, and I just reused them in this orchid pot I had, and I just fill up the bottom of this decorative pot with water when it gets empty, and it will drink when it needs it. And so far it's worked out for me. I do this for most of my calatheas, marantas, and they seem to like it. I always love the new leaves on this family of plants because they look like little little dollar bills or something. Alright, so those are my Marantaceae family plants. And in the middle is a Philodendron micans, also known as the Velvet Touch Philodendron. And I think it's also called Philodendron heteroecium, which I believe Summer Rain Oaks referred to it as that on her channel, so I'm also going to mention that name. It's the one that's very, very velvety. It's really nice to just look at that. I like how the new leaves always come out this really vibrant kind of autumn fall color, like the leaves here in New England. So these plants are in a south-facing window. They're far from the window, probably about 10 feet. They never get direct sun, but they do get some bright light throughout the day. This was my first ever houseplant. My mom actually gifted it to me. It was a lot bigger than this. Unfortunately, I was new to houseplants and I nearly decimated it. But it was a good learning lesson for me. And, you know, I feel like no one just is an expert at growing plants. We all have to learn. So this plant constantly reminds me not to make the mistake of potting it in a huge pot when it didn't need to be. And luckily I saved some of the cuttings from it, so these are those. And it's coming back. Hopefully I can get it back to being huge again. We'll see. It's gonna take some time, but hey, you know, the one thing growing plants teaches us is patience. This big plant is an orchid. It's a dendrobium. I think it's a firewings. I'm not sure. This was labeled an unknown dendrobium. I got it at Logi's greenhouse in Connecticut, I think last year. And it was not blooming. It still hasn't bloomed, but I knew why. I slowly figured out why, because it had thrips, which for anyone who doesn't know, this is a good kind of show and tell of the damage that thrips can do to plants. This is actually where the thrips sucked the juices out of this poor leaf. And yeah, that was not fun. But another learning experience for me on how to treat thrips, which I used neem oil, and that worked very well, and I've never had them since. So I'll probably make a video at some point if anyone's interested on how I treat for those. But yeah, this plant, this is the newest growth, so I think it's safe to say it's bounced back. The newest growth is almost as tall as the older ones, so that's a good sign. The canes are definitely much thicker and plumper. So yeah, recovery plant, woohoo! This guy is pretty intense looking, right? This is my Alocasia amazonica, also referred to as Polly. Yeah, this guy hasn't been doing so well, but hopefully he'll be on the mend soon. It's one of my first alocasias, but I really like them, so hopefully I can get him back into shape. This is another orchid. It's an Oncidium, aka baby raspberry, and let me tell you, it does smell like raspberries, but also chocolate, vanilla, kind of a combination of those. It smells amazing. This is my mini Phalaenopsis orchid tank. It used to be what I called the ICU, back when I didn't know that much about plants and a lot of them weren't doing well. But now I just kind of keep these guys in here because I think it looks kind of cool. And they're small and they fit nicely. So yeah, I got quite a bit of little guys in here. They're all in semi-hydro. That's why you see those cocoa pebble balls. They're really clay balls, referred to as leca, L-E-C-A. This little cutie here is a no ID, but I'm pretty sure it's Phalaenopsis dryhost pink girl, because it smells really nice. It's very rosy fragrance. Below the mini fel tank, we have some other plants. Kind of really varied assortment here. We have a big aloe, giant aloe vera. It's doing all right. It's doing a little better now that I moved it in here with more light. New England winters suck, so. And then next to that, we have this guy was doing horribly, but now it's coming back to life. It's a curry plant. I also got from Blue Cheese. But yeah, I was not a fan of my environment, and now that it's winter, for whatever reason, I decided to throw out all these new leaves. Don't ask me what I did, because I have no idea. I don't know if it's the light. The sun comes in now. This is a southern facing room, and in the winter, the sun comes in like lower in the sky, so it actually like reaches down here. I'm wondering if that's a factor. Pretty interesting, right? And behind that, we got this baby Monstera deliciosa. I'm not a huge fan of Monstera, like the big ones. I like the Siltepecana, you know, the smaller plants. But this guy I feel like it's gonna scare me. Because I feel like every picture I've seen of them, they're just out of control. And I mean, in nature, they are out of control, but that's in nature. In your home, right? You want it to kind of make sense with your aesthetic or whatnot. I'll be happy this guy can stay small for some time until I figure out like staking situations and all that. I don't know, kind of makes me anxious. Like, how am I gonna grow this? Not gonna lie. Does anyone have plants that do that to them? Kind of makes you have some anxiety. It's not a bad anxiety, just kind of like, I gotta figure this out, you know? This is definitely that plant for me. And here we have another Maranta. Maranta leucanura maricella, otherwise known as the lemon lime prayer plant. And this guy originally was doing okay for me, and then it just went downhill until I put it in semi-hydro. But yeah, now the roots are like just going ham at this leca. Look at that. I was really surprised. You can grow almost anything in semi-hydro. Truly, true words. I'm so eloquent. Not. This is a really cool plant to like draw or paint, if that's your thing, you know, all these prayer plants. I mean, it looks like they were painted, but it's nature's painting, right? Pretty cool. Next to that rack is kind of my transition table, we'll call it that, where I have some new Phalaenopsis that I got. They're all in flower, but I put most of them into semi-hydro, and I have them on a heating mat because despite what this says now, in the night, this shit gets cold. It gets to be like 65 degrees Fahrenheit. And yeah, look at that great humidity. Not. This is what it's like in New England. This is not even that bad. Ooh, it's dusty. But yeah, usually the humidity gets to be like 18 degrees sometimes, so I got the humidifier running. I think that helps. I want humidity. Give me humidity or give me death. No. And here we have my windowsill where I have some of the higher light demanding plants. Mostly orchids. Noticing a theme here. This first guy over here is Brassolalia, yellowbird. And I got him in semi-hydro and seems to like it. Yeah, see, there's the tag. The roots are doing phenomenal. No blooms yet, but plant growth is great. And we got some new growths here. New roots and stuff. I did make this a little ring because I want it to kind of grow more upright, because they have a tendency to just grow everywhere. Next to that is a jasmine made of Orleans. I'm not sure if it's supposed to get this tall. I think I gotta trim it again. I did already, but I don't know, it's not flowering yet. It was when I got it, but now it's not. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I mean, the roots are coming out the bottom, so like, that's gotta be a good sign, right? Yeah, I don't know. There's gotta be a trick to these jasmines. I'll figure it out sometime. Anybody who knows any jasmine tricks, let me know. Next to the jasmine is this beast. So this isn't even like probably half the size it's gonna become. It's gonna become like double this size at least. This is Dendrobium Spectabile. Literally not making that up, that's the name. Like, I'm not making that up. Because, you know, it's freaking spectacular. Or at least it will be. It's getting there. But yeah, this plant was tiny. This is a new growth, and then these two growths are also new. So when I got it, it only had like these three back here. And it's already pumped out these 3 new growths. I mean, it's gonna be a beast. The blooms are awesome. It's a Latoria type Dendrobium orchid. So you'll see a couple of those because those are my favorite. They look like alien kind of flowers. So cool. Definitely recommend. And they just love semi-hydro. I mean, I don't know if I showed you the roots. Look at this. Look at this. Like, they literally are taking over this pot. Like, I can't remove this plant from the pot. I will have to eventually, but it's in there securely, so that's cool. I think these spots, they're not like a fungus. I think it's just a sign of like low humidity, because the new leaves don't have them. The older leaves do, so I think it was probably like when it transitioned from the greenhouse into my environment, it was like, ugh, low humidity, spot. But the new growths are fine. Next here we have another Dendrobium, which I don't know. It's not doing the best, but I don't know, it's doing stuff. It is making buds. This is a Dendrobium nobile type. I mean, it's supposed to be Dendrobium sakuraheim, but the flowers did not look like that. So I don't really know what it is. But we'll see what the new flowers look like. Next to him, I have 4 cats. I'm a cat lady, right? Plant cat lady. So these are Cattleya orchids. So this one is called BLC Greenwich Elmhurst, and the flowers are supposed to look pretty cool. They're like green with like a reddish lip. None of these have flowered yet, but they're making crazy new growths. You know, this guy's got a big one. I think it's almost the biggest. This was also a growth in my care. Semi-hydro. All these cats love it. The one next to it, I think it's either BLC or RLC. Hauserman Gala, cross with Hauserman's Jade. I think the going name I saw on the internet was like Pratum Green. And actually, I think this plant is one of the relatives of this plant, like one of the grandparents, which is kind of cool. But this one is supposed to like start off as a green flower and then turn white. So that'll be cool. It's supposed to be a really big flower. I mean, look at the plant. This is the biggest one I have for Cattleyas. Next to that Cattleya, we have, so this plant's pretty cool too. It's supposed to be like a blue Cattleya. So we shall see. And the final Cattleya, which I have in a red pot because it's supposed to be a red one. It's RLC Singing Scarlet Qinghua. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but it's supposed to have red flowers. I don't have any like red flowered plants. And yeah, it's been growing pretty nice too. Sitting on this shelf is Scindapsus Pictus Exotica. And I actually found this guy at the grocery store, surprisingly. This leaf is ginormous, like the size of my hand. They're just really nice, and they're soft too. And yeah, this guy's just kind of cranking out some new growth. This is one of the newer leaves, and it's actually almost as big as the older one, so that's exciting. Next to him is this crazy Tradescanthia zebrina, otherwise known as an inch plant. It does grow like an inch a day. It does kind of bother me because it's so creaky sounding, as I think Pam from Pam's Pretty Plants also said the same thing, and I was like, yeah, that's a good point. Now all I hear is the creaky sound. Yee! Next to that guy, we have the oxalis, woohoo! Otherwise called the shamrock plant. And look at that, they're so cute. And these are actually grown from like little corms or bulbs. They're teeny little bulbs in the soil. They're really cute. You can dig them up and, you know, share those with friends too if you want. These are my bigger Phalaenopsis orchids. I have them under my little T5 LED grow lights on this grow rack. They're doing pretty good. I think the lights are helping because I see a lot of new growth. This is the second grow rack from the bottom. As you can see, filled with orchids. Woohoo! This is the infamous Brassavola nodosa. Like no dosa. But I always want dosa, so I would just say yes dosa now. Horrible food joke, I'm sorry. Does anyone like Indian food? Dosas? No? Yes? It's fragrant in the evening. And I don't know if mine's just weird, or maybe this is just how my nose interprets it. To me, it smells like barbecued lemon. Like a smoky lemon. It's not unpleasant, it's just funny. I thought it was gonna be more perfumey, but I like it. It's really nice. This is Phalaenopsis bellina. And she also is loving semi-hydro. Roots, roots, roots everywhere. And a new leaf. She started growing a new leaf once I put her in semi-hydro. Go figure, right? Look at how cute. I love this plant. This is another Latoria type Dendrobium. I just love the flowers. Look at that. I just really appreciate how this plant grows. It grows pretty upright. And actually this plant is fragrant, but not until after like all these flowers and buds open. It's like a vanilla flavor, which is really nice. This is Dendrobium Roy Tokanaga. Apologies if I am butchering that name, but I love this plant. Definitely one of my faves. Look at that. Those spots though, can't handle it. They're so cool. These Latoria types, their lip is like springy. It's fun. Woo. And the backs of the petals are really nice too because you have that spotting. Up here on my third shelf from the top, we have kind of a mixture of stuff. This is a jewel orchid, which has really pretty leaves. I'm actually propagating some cuttings to try and get it to be a little more bushy. I also have this Monstera siltipacana that the lovely Pam from Pam's Pretty Plants sent to me after I won her contest. And I just love it. Thank you so much, Pam. It's doing really well. I'm excited to see it grow. Love you, Pam. And this plant has been awesome. It is also part of the Marantaceae or Maranta family, so the leaves move up and down throughout the day. Look at these leaves. Look at that. Just bask in that color. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.